Emma Hart survived a toxic marriage. She rebuilt herself. She learned to trust again. Then she met Ethan Cross, the man who made her believe in love. But Ethan has a secret. Her ex-husband paid him to break her heart. The job was simple. The feelings weren't. Now, with his dying brother's life on the line and the woman he truly loves about to discover the truth, Ethan faces an impossible choice. And Emma? She's about to learn that sometimes the person who heals you is the same person who destroys you. The summer air was thick with laughter and the smell of grilled food as Lakeside Events Center hosted Brighton Marketing's annual company party. String lights crisscrossed overhead, casting a warm glow over employees who traded their business casual for sundresses and polo shirts. Music thumped from speakers near the makeshift dance floor, and the open bar was doing brisk business. Emma Hart stood near the edge of the crowd, wineglass in hand, watching her team enjoy themselves. At 34, she'd gotten good at blending into the background at these events. Smile when appropriate, laugh at the right jokes, leave early enough that no one noticed. "Emma, there you are!" Sophia Bennett, her best friend and the company's HR director, bounded over with 2 fresh drinks. "You're not leaving yet, are you?" "I was thinking about it," Emma admitted. "Absolutely not. You've been a hermit for a year. You're staying." Sophia linked arms with her. "Besides, they're about to start Truth or Dare by the fire pit. Remember when we used to play this in college?" Emma's stomach tightened. "Soph, I'm not 22 anymore." "Exactly, which means you're old enough not to care what people think. Come on." Before Emma could protest further, Sophia had dragged her to where a group of about 15 people sat in a loose circle on outdoor furniture. Someone had placed an empty wine bottle in the center. "Emma's playing," announced Kyle from accounting, clearly already drunk. "Truth means you answer honestly. Dare means you do whatever we say. You can't pick truth more than twice in a row and," he grinned mischievously, "dares have to be completed fully or you take a penalty shot." The group murmured agreement. Someone spun the bottle. The first few rounds were tame. Someone had to call their ex, another person had to post an embarrassing photo on social media. One truth revealed an office crush. Emma relaxed slightly. Maybe this wouldn't be so bad. Then the bottle landed on Ethan. "Truth or dare, Ethan Cross?" Kyle asked. He didn't hesitate. "Dare." Kyle's eyes gleamed with mischief. He glanced around the circle, clearly looking for maximum entertainment value. Then his gaze landed on Emma. "I dare you to kiss Emma, and I mean really kiss her, not some weak peck on the cheek." The circle erupted in oohs and whistles. Emma's face went hot. This was exactly why she didn't do these things. She opened her mouth to object, to say this was inappropriate given their professional relationship. But Ethan was already standing. He crossed the circle slowly, giving her every opportunity to stop him. When he reached her chair, he crouched down so they were eye level. "Is this okay?" he asked quietly, voice low enough that only she could hear. Emma's heart hammered. She should say no. She was technically her superior. This could be seen as a conflict of interest. She'd sworn off men after Derek. But there was something in the way Ethan looked at her. Not leering or cocky like she'd expect from a dare, but genuinely asking for permission, seeing her as a person, not a punchline. "Yes," she whispered. He smiled, soft, genuine, and cupped her face with both hands. His palms were warm, slightly calloused. Then he leaned in and kissed her. It started gentle, tentative. Then something shifted. His hand slid into her hair. Her fingers found his shirt, gripping the fabric. The kiss deepened, and for a moment Emma forgot there were 14 other people watching. She forgot she was at a company party. She forgot every wall she'd carefully constructed around her heart. All she knew was that this kiss felt like coming home. When they finally broke apart, both breathing harder, the group erupted in cheers and applause. Someone whistled. Kyle was laughing and high-fiving people. But Emma barely heard any of it. She was staring at Ethan, who was staring back at her with an expression of complete surprise. "That was—" she started. "Yeah," he agreed, voice rough. "It was." He returned to his seat, but for the rest of the game, Emma caught him glancing at her, and every time she looked, he was already looking back.
2 hours later, Emma was standing in the parking lot, fishing for her phone to call a rideshare. She'd had more wine than intended, not drunk, but definitely over the limit. "Emma." She turned to find Ethan approaching, keys in hand. "I saw you trying to get an Uber. Surge pricing is insane right now. $45 for a 15-minute ride. I'm heading out anyway. Can I give you a lift?" Emma hesitated. "You don't have to." "I want to," he said simply. "Besides, it's on my way." Something about his tone made her believe him. She nodded. "Okay, thank you." His car was a modest but well-maintained sedan. He opened the passenger door for her, a small gesture that Derek had stopped doing after their first year of marriage. Emma slid in, and soon they were pulling out of the parking lot. For the first few minutes, they drove in comfortable silence. The radio played softly. The night air coming through the cracked windows was cool and pleasant. "About the kiss," Ethan started. "It's fine," Emma said quickly. "It was just a dare. We don't have to make it weird." "Right, just a dare." He paused. "But for what it's worth, I didn't mind it." Emma felt her cheeks warm again. "I didn't either." More silence. Then, perhaps because of the wine or the darkness or the fact that Ethan felt somehow safe, Emma found herself talking. "I'm sorry if I made things awkward. I don't usually do things like that. Kiss strangers, play party games, any of it." "You don't have to apologize. And for the record, I don't think of you as a stranger." "We've barely spoken before tonight." "True, but I notice things. You always say good morning to the cleaning staff. You bring in donuts on Fridays for your team. Last month, when intern what's-his-name crashed the entire database, you defended him in the meeting instead of throwing him under the bus." Ethan glanced at her. "You're kind. That's not as common as you'd think." Emma's throat tightened. When was the last time someone had really seen her? "My ex-husband used to say I was too nice, that people would take advantage." "Your ex-husband sounds like an asshole." A surprised laugh burst out of Emma. He really was." "What happened, if you don't mind me asking?" Emma looked out the window, watching streetlights blur past. "The usual story. Met in college, married at 25, thought we'd grow together. Instead, we grew apart. Or rather, I grew, and he wanted me to stay small." I took a breath. He was controlling, needed to know where I was, who I talked to, what I spent money on, criticized everything, my clothes, my friends, my career, made me feel like I was never enough. "Emma." It got worse over time. He never hit me, but the words, they left marks you couldn't see. By the end, I'd barely recognized myself. I'd lost 20 pounds, had anxiety attacks before coming home, couldn't sleep. She wiped her eyes, surprised to find tears. "Sorry, I don't know why I'm telling you this." "Don't apologize. I'm glad you're telling me." I finally left him about 18 months ago. The divorce finalized last year. I've spent the time since trying to remember who I was before him. Some days are better than others. Ethan pulled up to a red light and turned to her fully. "For what it's worth, whoever you are now seems pretty incredible." Emma's breath caught. "You don't even know me." "Then let me." The light turned green. Ethan drove on. Emma's heart raced. Tonight, that kiss, that was the first time I felt anything in so long. It scared me. How easy it was, how much I wanted it. "I know what you mean." "Do you?" "Yeah, I wasn't expecting it either. But Emma, for what it's worth, I haven't stopped thinking about it." He hesitated. "About you." They pulled up to her apartment complex. Ethan parked near her building and turned off the engine. Emma should get out of the car, thank him for the ride, go inside, and forget this ever happened.
Instead, she said, "I don't want to get hurt again. I would never hurt you." The way he said it, so certain, so earnest, made her believe him. "I should go," Emma said, not moving. "You should," Ethan agreed. Neither of them moved. Then Emma's apartment door opened, and Sophia stepped out onto the landing, clearly having been watching for her. "That's my best friend," Emma explained. "She's staying over this weekend." "Good. I'm glad you're not alone." Ethan reached over and squeezed her hand gently. "Get some rest? And Emma." "Yeah? I meant what I said. I'd like to get to know you, if you're open to it." Emma smiled, a real smile, the kind she hadn't felt in months. "I think I'd like that too." She got out of the car, and Sophia met her halfway up the walk. "Girl, who is that fine man, and why are you just now mentioning him?" Sophia whispered urgently. "I'll tell you everything inside." They watched Ethan drive away. As his taillights disappeared, Emma felt something she'd thought was dead stir back to life. Hope. Inside the apartment, Sophia made tea, while Emma kicked off her shoes and collapsed on the couch. "Okay, spill. Everything. Start with that kiss because half the party was recording it." "Oh, God, really?" "Emma, that was not a dare kiss. That was a I've been wanting to do this for months kiss, so talk." Emma told her everything. The dare, the drive home, the conversation. Sophia listened, occasionally gasping or grinning. "So he's into you, obviously. The question is, are you into him?" "I don't know. Maybe, yes." "God, Soph, I don't know how to do this. It's been so long since I've even thought about dating." "So don't call it dating yet. Just see what happens. Go slow." "He only works Saturdays and Wednesdays. I won't even see him until next week." "Then you'll have time to think about whether you want to pursue this. No pressure." Sophia squeezed her hand. "But Emma, you deserve happiness. You deserve someone who looks at you the way that man was looking at you tonight." "What if I mess it up? What if you don't?"
Monday morning, Emma woke up with a slight headache and a phone full of notifications. Apparently, the kiss had made the rounds on social media. Nothing scandalous, just some videos and photos with captions like, "Truth or Dare got real at the Brighton party." She groaned and deleted the tags. At work, a few people gave her knowing looks or teasing comments, but nothing too bad. By Tuesday, the office had moved on to other gossip, but Emma couldn't stop thinking about Ethan. She found herself checking the clock, counting down to Saturday, wondering what she'd say when she saw him, whether the connection had been real or just a product of wine and moonlight. Wednesday came and went, his workday, but their paths didn't cross. He was probably in the basement server room or helping remote employees. Part of her wanted to find an excuse to need IT support. The other part told her not to be ridiculous. Thursday, Sophia called during lunch. "Have you texted him?" "I don't have his number." "Emma, you're his boss. You could easily get his number from HR." "That would be an abuse of power." "You're impossible." "Fine, wait until Saturday and do it the old-fashioned way. But I swear, if you chicken out—" "I won't chicken out. You'd better not." Friday night, Emma changed outfits 3 times before settling on jeans and a simple blouse, casual but put together. She told herself it had nothing to do with the fact that Ethan would be in the office tomorrow. Sophia texted, "You're overthinking. Just be yourself. He already likes you." Emma hoped that was true. Emma arrived at work early, which was unusual for a Saturday. Normally, she'd roll in around 10, handle some emails, and be done by noon. Today, she was there at 8:30, coffee in hand, heart racing. She forced herself to focus on actual work, budget reports, campaign reviews, anything to keep from constantly checking the elevator for Ethan's arrival. At 9:15, her office phone rang. IT extension. "Hello?" "Hi, Emma. It's Ethan. I'm doing routine system checks. Do you have a moment? I need to update something on your computer." Her heart jumped. "Sure, come on up." 3 minutes later, there was a knock on her door. "Come in." Ethan entered, laptop bag over his shoulder, looking exactly as she remembered, maybe even better in the morning light. He smiled. "Hey."
Hey! For a moment, they just looked at each other. Then Ethan cleared his throat. So, about that system update. Right, yes, my computer. Emma stepped aside. Ethan worked efficiently, fingers flying over the keyboard. Emma pretended to review documents, but was hyper-aware of his presence, the way he smelled faintly of soap and coffee, the concentration on his face, the way his forearms flexed as he typed. All set, he said after a few minutes, then softer. How've you been? Good, busy. You? Same. He packed up his laptop, but didn't leave. Emma, about what I said in the car. I haven't stopped thinking about it either. The kiss, the conversation, you. His expression brightened. Yeah? Yeah. Would you want to maybe grab coffee sometime, or dinner, or anything, really? I'm flexible. I'd like that, Emma smiled. But I should probably have your number first, to coordinate. Right, smart. He pulled out his phone and they exchanged numbers. His contact info popped up on her screen. Ethan Cross. She saved it, heart fluttering stupidly. I should get back to work, Ethan said reluctantly. But I'll text you. We can figure out plans. I'd like that. He was halfway out the door when he turned back. Emma? Yeah? I'm really glad this is happening. Me too. After he left, Emma sat down at her desk and couldn't stop smiling. That evening, her phone buzzed. Hey, just wanted to make sure I didn't dream this morning. Did I actually get your number? Emma laughed and typed back. You did, unless we're both dreaming. Then I hope we never wake up. Too cheesy? Maybe a little, but I don't mind. Good, because I have more where that came from. Is that a threat or a promise? Definitely a promise. Speaking of which, are you free tomorrow? There's a farmer's market in Riverside. Thought we could walk around, grab some food? That sounds perfect. Great. I'll pick you up at 10? It's a date. Emma stared at those 3 words. She'd actually said it. It's a date. And she meant it.
Sunday morning came bright and clear. Emma woke up nervous and excited in equal measure. She and Ethan had texted until past midnight. Easy, flowing conversation that made her feel like she'd known him for years instead of days. She was in the shower when her phone buzzed. Ethan. Something came up with my brother. Can we push till later this afternoon? I'm so sorry. Emma. Of course. Is everything okay? Ethan. Yeah, just some medical stuff. Nothing urgent. I'll explain later. Emma. Take your time. Family comes first. Ethan. Thank you for understanding. I'll text you when I'm free. Emma tried not to feel disappointed. Life happened. He had responsibilities. She got it. To distract herself, she decided to go grocery shopping. She threw on leggings, an oversized sweatshirt, and pulled her hair into a messy bun. No makeup. This was strictly a run errands and feel sorry for yourself outfit. Of course, that's when she ran into him. Emma was in the produce section, trying to decide between regular apples and organic apples like it was a life-altering decision when she heard a familiar voice. Those are both good choices, but personally, I'm a Honeycrisp guy. She spun around. Ethan stood there in jeans and a gray t-shirt, holding a shopping basket, grinning at her obvious surprise. Oh my God! Emma immediately tried to smooth her hair, hideously aware of how she looked. I thought, you said you had... I do. My brother's appointment isn't until 2, so I figured I'd grab some groceries first. His eyes sparkled with amusement. Nice sweatshirt. Emma looked down. Her college sweatshirt had a cartoon owl and read, Night Owl, not Early Bird. It also had a coffee stain near the hem. I wasn't expecting to see anyone I know, she muttered. Well, I'm glad I ran into you anyway. He stepped closer. For what it's worth, I think you look great. I look like I just rolled out of bed. Exactly. You look real, comfortable, beautiful. Emma's face heated. You don't have to say that. I'm not saying it to be nice. I'm saying it because it's true. He grabbed a bag of Honeycrisp apples and added them to his basket. Most people put on a mask for the world. It's nice seeing you without yours. I don't know whether to be flattered or embarrassed. Go with flattered. It's more fun. They walked through the store together, conversation flowing easily.
Ethan grabbed produce and staples while Emma collected her own items. At one point, she reached for a jar of pasta sauce at the same time he did, and their hands touched. Neither pulled away immediately. "I live in Riverside Park Apartments," Ethan mentioned casually as they turned down the cereal aisle. "Just moved in a few weeks ago, actually. Building C." Emma stopped walking. "Wait, Riverside Park?" "Yeah, why?" "I live in Riverside Park, Building B." Ethan's eyebrows shot up. "You're kidding." "I'm not. I've been there almost a year." "So we're neighbors?" A slow smile spread across his face. "That's convenient." "Very convenient," Emma agreed, heart racing. They finished shopping together, still talking. When they reached the checkout lanes, Ethan carried both their baskets, despite Emma's protests. Outside in the parking lot, he walked her to her car and helped load her groceries. "So," he said, closing her trunk, "I still want to take you out later, but now that I know you live one building over, maybe I could just knock on your door. Save us both the awkward 'he's here' text." "Building B, apartment 304. I'll be there at 4. Wear something comfortable. We're going to walk a lot." Mysterious. I like it. Ethan leaned against her car, that soft smile still on his face. "You know what? This feels right. Easy, like we've done this 100 times before." "I know what you mean. See you at 4, neighbor." He walked toward his own car, and Emma watched him go, grinning like an idiot. Sophia was going to lose her mind when she heard about this.
At 3:45 p.m., Emma was pacing her apartment, checking her reflection for the 10th time. She'd settled on jeans, ankle boots, and a soft green sweater that Sophia once said made her eyes pop. Hair down, light makeup, simple jewelry. Sophia, who was sprawled on the couch eating popcorn, watched her with amusement. "You're going to wear a hole in the carpet." "What if this is a mistake? What if I'm reading everything wrong? What if—" The doorbell rang. "What if you stop overthinking and go have fun?" Sophia suggested. "Now go and text me updates." Emma took a deep breath and opened the door. Ethan stood there looking unfairly handsome in dark jeans and a navy button-up, holding a single sunflower. "Hi," he said, offering the flower. "I saw these at the market yesterday and thought of you. Bright, cheerful, hard not to smile at." Emma took the sunflower, chest tight with emotion. Derek had never brought her flowers, not once in 8 years. "Thank you. It's beautiful." "Ready to go?" "Ready." They walked to his car, and soon they were driving through the city. Ethan had music playing softly, indie folk that Emma didn't recognize but liked immediately. "So where are we going?" she asked. "Riverside Farmers Market, like I mentioned. But after that, there's this little bookstore cafe I found that stays open late. Thought we could browse, grab coffee, talk. Low pressure." He glanced at her. "That okay?" "That sounds perfect." The market was bustling with people, vendors calling out deals on fresh produce, handmade crafts, local honey, and artisan bread. The smell of kettle corn and grilled meat filled the air. Live music played from a small stage. Ethan took Emma's hand as they walked, and it felt natural. Right. They sampled cheese from a local dairy, brought fresh strawberries, and Ethan insisted on winning her a small succulent plant from a game booth, which he failed 3 times before succeeding, which made Emma laugh until her sides hurt. "I'm terrible at these games," he admitted, handing her the tiny plant. "But you kept trying. That's what matters. For you, I'd keep trying all night." They sat on a bench overlooking the river, sharing a basket of sweet potato fries and watching the sun start its descent. "Tell me about your brother," Emma said gently. "You mentioned he had an appointment today." Ethan's expression shifted, still open but heavier. "Liam, he's 26, diagnosed with stage 3 lymphoma about 8 months ago." "Ethan, I'm so sorry." "He's fighting hard. The treatment is aggressive, but his doctors are optimistic. Some days are better than others." He stared out at the water. "He's the only family I have left. Parents died in a car accident when I was 25. I've been looking after him ever since." "That must be incredibly hard." "It is, but he's my brother. I'd do anything for him." Ethan's jaw tightened slightly. "Anything." Emma squeezed his hand. "He's lucky to have you." "I'm lucky to have him." Ethan seemed to shake off the heavy mood. "But enough about me.
Tell me something I don't know about you. Like what? Anything. Favorite book, secret talent, irrational fear. Surprise me. Emma thought for a moment. I'm terrified of birds. Birds? Ethan blinked. I know it's ridiculous, but when I was 6, a seagull stole my ice cream cone right out of my hand at the beach. I've been wary ever since. Ethan laughed, a full, genuine laugh that made Emma laugh too. That's both adorable and tragic. What about you? What's something I don't know? I play piano, taught myself from YouTube videos during college when I couldn't afford lessons. Really? That's impressive. I'm not great, but I can stumble through some Ludovico Einaudi if I focus. I'd like to hear you play sometime. Deal, I'll give you a private concert. He stood and offered his hand. Come on, let's hit that bookstore before they close. The bookstore was exactly the kind of place Emma loved. Cramped shelves overflowing with used books, mismatched furniture, the smell of old paper and fresh coffee. A few other customers browsed quietly. Ethan brought us both coffee, and they wandered separately for a while, occasionally calling each other over to show off a find. Look at this. Emma held up a battered copy of The Princess Bride. I haven't read this since high school. You should get it. Reread it. I bet it hits different now. She added it to her stack. They reconvened in the poetry section. Ethan pulled out a slim volume and read aloud. I carry your heart with me. I carry it in my heart. He looked up at her. E. Cummings. That's beautiful. It is. His voice was soft. Emma, I know this is technically our first real date, and maybe it's too soon to say this, but I feel like I've been waiting to meet you all my life. Emma's breath caught. Emma, you don't have to say anything. I just wanted you to know. Whatever this is, it feels important. You feel important. Emma set down her books and stepped closer. It does feel important, and for the record, I feel it too. They stood there, surrounded by books and soft lamplight, and Ethan cupped her face gently, just like he had at the party. Can I kiss you again? He whispered. Please. This kiss was slower than the first, deeper, more intentional. It tasted like coffee and possibility, and when they finally pulled apart, Emma felt like her entire world had shifted. Wow, she breathed. Yeah, Ethan agreed. Wow. They stayed until the bookstore closed, then walked back to their apartment complex hand in hand. At Emma's door, Ethan hesitated. I had a really great time tonight. Me too. Best first date I've ever had. Can I see you again, soon? I'd be disappointed if you didn't ask. He kissed her forehead. Good night, Emma Hart. Good night, Ethan Cross. She watched him walk to his own building, and only when he disappeared inside did she finally go into her apartment. Sophia took one look at her face and squealed. Oh my God, you're glowing! Tell me everything! Emma collapsed next to her on the couch and did exactly that.
Over the next few weeks, Emma and Ethan fell into an easy rhythm. They texted constantly. Good morning messages, random thoughts throughout the day, good night texts that often turned into hour-long conversations. They had coffee dates before work, dinner dates after, movie nights in Emma's apartment where they barely watched the movie because they were too busy talking. Emma felt herself opening up in ways she hadn't in years. Ethan was patient with her fears, honest about his own struggles with Liam's illness, and consistently showed up in small, meaningful ways. He remembered she hated onions and always ordered her food without them. He noticed when she was stressed and would show up with her favorite tea. When she had a migraine, he came over with blackout curtains and sat quietly nearby in case she needed anything. He's a keeper, Sophia declared after meeting him officially. Don't screw this up. I'm trying not to. Emma found herself thinking about him constantly, about his laugh, his hands, the way he looked at her like she was the only person in the room, the way he made her feel safe and seen and valued. She was falling in love with him, maybe had already fallen. It terrified and thrilled her in equal measure. One Saturday morning, about 5 weeks into whatever they hadn't officially labeled it yet, but it felt like a relationship, Emma was having coffee on her balcony when she saw Ethan jogging past her building. On impulse, she grabbed her phone. Emma. Nice form, runner boy. A moment later, Ethan stopped and looked up, grinning when he spotted her. Stalker. You run past my apartment. That's your fault. Fair point. Want to join me? I don't run. You could start. Hard pass. Your loss. I look very good while running. Cocky much. Confident. There's a difference. Emma laughed, then made a decision she'd probably regret. Emma. Hold on. Let me change. 5 minutes later, she was in leggings and a tank top, meeting Ethan outside. I can't believe you actually came down, he said, bouncing on his toes. Neither can I. For the record, I haven't voluntarily run since gym class. We'll go slow, just once around the complex. They started jogging, or rather Ethan jogged while Emma tried not to die. After about 3 minutes, she was winded. How do people do this? She gasped. Practice and breathing. You're supposed to breathe. I am breathing. Ethan laughed and slowed to a walk. Okay, power walking it is. They walked the loop together, and despite her protesting lungs, Emma enjoyed it. The morning was beautiful, and being with Ethan made even exercise tolerable. As they rounded the corner back toward the buildings, Ethan suddenly stopped. What? Emma asked. Someone's been following us. Emma turned. There was no one behind them. I think the endorphins are making you paranoid. Ethan grabbed her hand and pulled her around the corner of Building C. Then he pressed her gently against the wall, caging her in with his arms. Caught you, he murmured. What are you talking about? You following me, pretending you wanted to run. Emma's face heated. I did want to run. Liar. He was grinning. You wanted an excuse to spend time with me. Maybe. Definitely. He leaned in closer. Not that I'm complaining. Oh, really? Really. Because I've been looking for an excuse to do this. He kissed her, and Emma melted into it. Her hands found his shirt, his arms wrapped around her waist, and for a few perfect moments, nothing else existed. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, this time not from running, Ethan rested his forehead against hers. Come up to my place, he said. I'll make you breakfast. We can shower, separately, he added quickly, and just hang out. I'd like that. Ethan's apartment was on the second floor, decorated minimally but comfortably. A decent couch, a TV, bookshelves crammed with novels and tech manuals. What caught Emma's attention was the keyboard in the corner. You really do play, she said. I told you. Want to hear something? Definitely. Ethan sat at the keyboard and played a simple but beautiful melody. Emma recognized it as one of the pieces he'd mentioned, Inaudi. He wasn't lying about being self-taught. There were a few fumbled notes, but the overall effect was lovely. When he finished, Emma applauded softly. That was beautiful. Thanks. I'm rusty. Haven't played much since Liam got sick. How is he doing?
Ethan's expression clouded slightly. He's hanging in there. This week has been rough, new treatment cycle, but the doctors say he's responding well overall. I'd like to meet him sometime, if that's okay. Ethan looked surprised, then touched. Really? Of course. He's important to you, which makes him important to me. He pulled her onto the couch next to him, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. You're pretty incredible, you know that? You might have mentioned it once or twice. They sat there in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Ethan's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and something flickered across his face, so quick Emma almost missed it. Everything okay? She asked. Yeah, just work stuff. He silenced the phone and set it face down on the coffee table. You sure? Positive. He kissed her temple. Now, I promised you breakfast. How do you feel about pancakes? I feel very positively about pancakes. They moved to the kitchen, and Ethan started pulling out ingredients. Emma perched on the counter watching him work, feeling content in a way she hadn't in years. Can I ask you something? Ethan said as he whisked batter. Anything. What made you finally leave him, your ex, I mean? Emma was quiet for a moment. There wasn't one big moment, it was 1,000 small ones. But I think the breaking point was when I realized I'd become a ghost in my own life. I didn't have opinions anymore, didn't have desires. I just existed to make him comfortable. Emma. One day I was driving home from work, and I realized I was dreading walking through the door. I was scared of what mood he'd be in, what I might do wrong, how I'd have to perform to keep the peace. And I thought, is this really it? Is this all my life is going to be? She met his eyes. That night, I told him I wanted a divorce. He laughed at first, said I'd never make it on my own, that I needed him. But you proved him wrong. I did. It was hard, the loneliest year of my life, but I survived, and eventually I started to heal. She smiled softly. And then I met you. Ethan set down the whisk and moved to stand between her knees, hands resting on her thighs. I'm so glad you left him, so glad you found the strength, because if you hadn't, we wouldn't be here right now. Everything happens for a reason, I guess. Maybe. He studied her face. Can I tell you something? And I need you to really hear me. Okay. You are not too much. You are not too little. You are exactly enough, just as you are. And anyone who made you feel otherwise is a fool. His voice was intense, certain. You deserve to be loved loudly, proudly, without conditions or criticisms, and I want to be the person who does that. Emma's eyes filled with tears. Ethan. He pulled her into a kiss, pulling closer. The pancakes were forgotten. Everything was forgotten, except the feeling of being loved, truly loved, for the first time in her life.
2 weeks later, Emma was floating. Work was good, life was good. Ethan was everything. They'd officially labeled their relationship. He'd met more of her friends. She'd met Liam, a sweet, tired young man fighting the battle of his life, who'd hugged her and whispered, "Thank you for making my brother smile again." It felt real, solid, like something she could build a future on. That Tuesday afternoon, Emma left work early to surprise Ethan. He'd mentioned being stressed about some bills, and she'd baked his favorite cookies, chocolate chip with sea salt, and wanted to cheer him up. She used the key he'd given her to let herself into his apartment. Music was playing from the bathroom. He was in the shower. Emma smiled, setting the cookies on the counter. She'd wait for him to finish, maybe join him if she was feeling bold. Then his phone buzzed on the coffee table. She glanced over, saw a name on the screen that made her blood run cold. Derek Ashford, her ex-husband. Emma stared at the phone. Why would Derek be texting Ethan? How did Derek even know Ethan? The phone buzzed again. Against every instinct screaming at her to stop, Emma picked it up. The messages were visible on the lock screen. Derek, time's running out, Cross. When are you pulling the trigger? Derek, I didn't pay you all this money for you to get cold feet. Finish the job or kiss your brother's treatment goodbye. Emma's hands started shaking. No, this couldn't be real. She unlocked his phone, knew his passcode because he'd given it to her freely, another act of trust that now felt like a weapon. She scrolled up through the messages, and with each one her heart broke a little more. Derek, 8 weeks ago. Here's the deal. You make her fall in love with you, really sell it, then you break her heart in the most devastating way possible. Do that, and I'll cover all of your brother's medical expenses, every single bill. Ethan, 8 weeks ago. Why? What did she do to you? Derek, she destroyed my life, left me humiliated. Now I'm returning the favor. So, do we have a deal or not? Ethan, 7 weeks ago. This feels wrong. Derek, your brother has maybe 6 months without intensive treatment. Can you afford that? Because I can. All you have to do is make my ex-wife believe someone could actually love her, then rip it away. Easiest money you'll ever make. Ethan, 6 weeks ago. She's not what you said she was. Derek, I don't care what she is. Stick to the plan. Ethan, 5 weeks ago.
I don't know if I can do this. Derek, you don't have a choice, not if you want Liam to live. Ethan, 3 weeks ago. I'm done. I can't hurt her. Find someone else. Derek, we have a contract. You signed it. If you back out now, I'll sue you for breach and make sure you can't afford a box of Band-Aids, let alone chemotherapy. Now grow a spine and finish what you started. Ethan, 2 weeks ago. I need more time. Derek, you have 2 weeks, then I want her destroyed. Send me proof or our deal is off. The messages continued, but Emma couldn't read anymore. She was going to sick. Everything, every moment, every kiss, every I love you had been a lie, a performance, a job. The shower turned off. Emma stood there frozen, phone still in her hand. She heard Ethan humming as he dried off, heard the bathroom door open. Emma? He turned slowly. He stood in the doorway in just a towel, wet hair dripping, face lighting up when he saw her. Hey, I didn't know you were coming over. He saw her face, saw the phone in her hand. The light died in his eyes. Emma, wait. Don't. Her voice came out flat, dead. Don't you dare. Let me explain. Explain what? That my ex-husband paid you to destroy me? That everything, her voice cracked, everything between us was fake? It wasn't fake. Emma, please. She held up the phone, showing him the messages. Was this fake? Were you lying when you said you loved me? When you met my friends? When you... A sob escaped. When you held me and told me I deserved to be loved? Emma, she answered me. Was any of it real? Ethan's face crumpled. At first, yes, it was a job. He offered me money I desperately needed, and his voice broke. I was desperate. Liam's treatment costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. I couldn't afford it. I couldn't watch my brother die. So you agreed to torture me instead. I didn't know you. I thought... Derek made you sound like this terrible person who destroyed his life. I thought maybe you deserved it. Oh my God, Emma backed away from him. You thought I deserved this? No, I mean at first maybe, but the moment I met you, the moment we kissed, I knew I was wrong. Everything he said about you was a lie. Emma, I fell in love with you, really. I told Derek I was done. I stopped responding to most of his messages.
Except the ones today? He threatened to sue me, to take back everything he'd paid for Liam's treatment. I was trying to figure out how to... How to what? Keep lying to me? How long were you going to let this go on? I was going to tell you. I swear I was going to tell you everything. When, Ethan? Before or after you destroyed me like he paid you to do? He would never destroy you. Emma, I love you. Don't! She screamed it, voice raw. Don't you dare say that to me. You don't love me. You can't love someone and lie to them like this. I do love you. Everything I said, everything we shared, that was real. My feelings are real. Emma wiped her face, trying to compose herself. Her voice came out quiet, broken. The apartment, this place, did Derek put you here too? Ethan's silence was answer enough. Oh my God, he planned everything. Put you in my company, put you in my neighborhood, made sure our paths would cross. She laughed bitterly. And I fell for it. I fell for all of it like the desperate, pathetic woman he always said I was. You're not pathetic. I trusted you. Emma's voice broke completely. I told you things I've never told anyone. I let you in. I let myself believe that someone could actually... She couldn't finish. Ethan was crying too now, reaching for her. Emma, please, let me fix this. Let me... She slapped him. The sound echoed in the apartment. Ethan stumbled back, hand to his face, shocked. Don't touch me, Emma said coldly. Don't ever touch me again. She threw his phone at his chest and headed for the door. Emma, wait! He grabbed his jeans, pulling them on frantically. Please, just give me a chance to explain. Explain what? How you're a liar? How you used me? How you pretended to love me for money?" She yanked open the door. "There's nothing left to explain." She ran down the stairs, Ethan following in just his jeans, still calling after her. "Emma, please!" She reached her building, fumbling with her keys. He caught up just as she got her door open. "Emma!" His voice was desperate, broken. "Please, just listen to me." She turned, and the look on her face made him stop. Her eyes were empty, dead. All the light, all the love, all the life he'd put there, gone. Was it all real? The kisses, the dates, the conversations, you telling me you loved me? Ethan opened his mouth, but no words came. Because how could he explain? Yes, he loved her now, but it had started as a lie. The foundation was rotten. Everything they'd built was on poisoned ground. His silence stretched on. "Emma," nodded, tears falling faster. "Okay." That one word, so small, so final, destroyed him. "Emma, he won." Her voice was barely a whisper. "Tell Derek he won." She stepped inside and closed the door. Ethan stood there, fist raised to knock, but he couldn't do it. What could he possibly say? He pressed his forehead against her door, tears streaming down his face. "I'm sorry. God, Emma, I'm so sorry. I love you. I love you so much." Silence. He slid down to sit against her door, head in his hands, sobbing. "Please, please let me fix this." But the door never opened.
Inside the apartment, Emma slid down her own side of the door, knees pulled to her chest, crying so hard she couldn't breathe. She'd been so stupid, so incredibly, monumentally stupid. She'd let herself believe, let herself hope, let herself love. And once again, she'd been wrong. Her phone buzzed. Text after text from Ethan. "I'm so sorry. Please let me explain everything. I love you. That was never a lie. Please, Emma." She blocked his number. The crying continued in waves. Every time she thought she'd emptied herself out, another memory would surface. Ethan bringing her sunflowers, Ethan playing piano, Ethan saying, "You deserve to be loved," loudly, and the sobs would start again. Hours later, Sophia let herself in with her spare key and found Emma still on the floor. "Oh, honey," Sophia breathed, dropping to her knees. "What happened?" Emma couldn't even speak. She just handed Sophia her phone, pulled up the screenshots she'd taken of the messages before blocking him. Sophia read them, her face going through shock, rage, and heartbreak. "Oh my God! Emma, I'm so sorry. She pulled Emma into her arms. "I'm here. I've got you." "I really loved him," Emma sobbed. I thought he was different." "I know, baby. I know." "Derek wins. He always wins. I can't do this anymore, Soph. I can't keep trying just to get broken again." "Don't say that. Don't let them win like this." "They already have." Sophia held her while she cried, whispering comfort that Emma couldn't hear. Eventually, her tears ran dry, leaving her hollow and exhausted. "Come on," Sophia said gently. "Let's get you to bed." She helped Emma up, guided her to the bedroom, and tucked her in like a child. Emma stared at the ceiling, feeling nothing. "I'm staying here tonight, and tomorrow, and however long you need." "Okay," Emma whispered. "Do you want me to do anything? Call anyone? I can go slash his tires." "No, I just want to sleep." "Okay, I'll be right outside if you need me." Sophia left, closing the door softly. Emma rolled over and saw the sunflower Ethan had given her on their first date, now dried and preserved in a small vase on her nightstand. She'd kept it because it meant something. Now it just meant she was a fool. She turned away from it and closed her eyes. Wednesday. Ethan was supposed to be at work. Emma called in sick. Thursday. Emma got up, showered, and tried to go to work. She lasted 2 hours before having a panic attack in the bathroom. Sophia drove her home. Friday. More texts from unknown numbers. She figured out they were from Ethan using different phones. "Please talk to me. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but please let me try to explain." I love you. That was never a lie. Please talk to me. She blocked each number. Saturday, the day Ethan normally worked, Emma called her assistant and said she had the flu, stayed in bed, didn't eat, barely drank water. Sophia forced toast and tea on her. You have to eat something. I'm not hungry. I don't care. Eat. Emma took 2 bites and felt nauseous. Sunday, she heard footsteps outside her door, a knock. Emma, please, just let me explain. Ethan's voice. She froze in bed, pulling the covers over her head. I know you're angry. You have every right to be, but I need you to know everything I felt for you was real. I fell in love with you, really, truly. His voice cracked. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I destroyed it. I know that. But please, please give me a chance to... She doesn't want to talk to you. Sophia's voice, sharp and protective. You need to leave. I just need 5 minutes. You need to leave before I call the police. Silence. Then, footsteps retreating. Emma curled tighter into herself. Monday. Emma forced herself to go to work. People noticed she looked terrible, but didn't ask questions. She locked herself in her office and tried to focus on spreadsheets and campaign metrics. Anything to not think. At lunch, she saw she had a visitor request at reception. Ethan. She had security escort him out. Tuesday. Her assistant mentioned that someone had dropped off flowers for her. Emma told her to throw them away without looking at the card. Wednesday. Ethan's workday again. Emma worked from home. Thursday. She was in a meeting when someone mentioned seeing that IT guy who used to work Saturdays and Wednesdays hanging around the building. Emma excused herself and went to the bathroom to cry. Friday. 1 week since everything fell apart. Emma looked in the mirror and barely recognized herself. Dark circles, hollow eyes. She'd lost weight. She looked exactly like she had at the end of her marriage. Derek had won. Again. The realization made something inside her crack. That evening, there was a knock on her door. Emma almost didn't answer, but something made her look through the peephole. Derek. Her ex-husband stood there in an expensive suit, that familiar smug smile on his face. Emma's hands clenched into fists. She opened the door. Emma. He looked her up and down. You look terrible. What do you want, Derek? I came to see how you're doing. Heard you've been having a tough time lately. His smile widened. Relationship troubles? Get out. Did you really think someone like Ethan Cross would want you without being paid? He stepped closer. You're so easy to break, just like always. I knew if I found the right bait, you'd bite. You're desperate, pathetic, so desperate to be loved that you'll believe anything. Something in Emma shifted. The tears dried up. The heartbreak crystallized into something harder. She looked at Derek, really looked at him, and for the first time in years, she saw him clearly. Not as her former husband, not as someone she'd once loved, but as the small, petty, cruel man he'd always been. You're right, she said calmly. You broke me. Again. Congratulations. Derek's smile was triumphant. I knew I could. But here's the thing, Derek. I survived you once. I left you. I rebuilt my entire life, and I'll do it again. Her voice was steady now. You're so pathetic that you had to pay someone to hurt me because you couldn't move on. Do you know how sad that is? How empty you must be inside? His smile faltered. You didn't win. You just proved that you're still the same miserable, controlling man I divorced, and I'm done letting you have power over me. She stepped back. Now get out of my building, and if you ever contact me, Ethan, or anyone I know again, I'll file a restraining order and tell everyone exactly what you did. You can't prove. I have the screenshots, all of them, every message between you and Ethan. I'm sure your business partners would love to see how you spend your money.
She smiled coldly. "Get out." Derek's face went red. For a moment, he thought he might explode, but he just turned and walked away, muttering under his breath. Emma closed the door and locked it. Then she slid down to sit against it, not crying this time, just empty. She'd stood up to Derek. She'd said everything she needed to say, so why didn't she feel better? Because Ethan was still a liar, the relationship was still fake, and she was still alone. She pulled out her phone and looked at her blocked numbers, hesitated over Ethan's, then put the phone away. Some things couldn't be fixed. Some betrayals were too deep.
Emma went back to work full-time, threw herself into projects, smiled when appropriate, functioned. But the light in her eyes was gone. Sophia worried. Her other friends worried. Even her co-workers noticed something had changed. "I'm fine," Emma told them all, "just tired." She avoided Building C entirely, took different routes to her car. If she saw Ethan in the distance, she turned around. He stopped trying to contact her after that first week. Maybe he finally got the message. Maybe he'd moved on to his next job. The thought made her feel sick. She deleted all their photos, blocked him on every platform, threw away the dried sunflower and the succulent plant from their first date, erased every trace of him from her life. But she couldn't erase him from her heart. Late at night, alone in her apartment, she still thought about him, about the way he'd looked at her, the way he'd made her laugh, the way he'd held her like she was precious. Had any of it been real? His silence was her answer. One Saturday morning, 3 weeks after everything fell apart, Emma saw a moving truck outside Building C. Her heart jumped into her throat. She watched from her window as furniture was loaded up, saw Ethan directing the movers, looking thinner, exhausted. He was leaving. Part of her wanted to run down there, to demand answers, to scream at him or beg him to explain, or... She closed the blinds. An hour later, the truck was gone. So was he. Emma sat on her couch, staring at nothing, feeling nothing. Sophia found her like that when she came over that evening. "He's gone," Emma said quietly. "I know. I saw the truck. I thought I'd feel better, relieved maybe, but I just feel..." She trailed off. "Empty?" "Yeah." Sophia sat next to her and took her hand. "It's going to take time, but you'll heal from this too, just like you healed from Derek." "Will I? Because right now it feels like I'll never trust anyone again, never love anyone again." Emma's voice was hollow. "Maybe Derek was right. Maybe I am too broken to be loved." "Don't say that. Don't let them win." "They already have, Soph. Look at me. I'm right back where I started, alone, afraid, completely shut down. Then we rebuild again, as many times as it takes. I don't know if I have the strength." "You do. I've seen it. You're the strongest person I know." Emma wanted to believe her, but mostly she just felt tired.